What is a boxer's worst fear? Well, for me, I feel like I can speak for many boxers, having been in the sport so long. And a big fear is obviously not getting knocked out or being beat up or being hurt. You know, we sign up for that. That's just what we do. That's part of the game. But for me, the biggest fear is what I'm having to go through now. As you might hear in my voice, I'm a little bit bunged up. So I'm currently in training for a championship fight against Gary Cully on the 14th of December, which is actually only, what are we, 14, 15? I'm only 17 days away from that. And how it's been for me, this training camp, it's just been horrendous. And that's a fear, is just having an horrendous training camp and end up having to pull out a fight. I'm obviously not going to pull out a fight. If you're watching this, then the fight's already happened. I just thought I'd document what I've had to go through during this training camp, which, you know, I feel like it's ended up being one of my worst ones I've ever had. So I am 4 weeks and 1 day into a bad virus, let's say. So 4 weeks and 1 day ago, I get the first symptoms, which I picked up off my little girl who goes to nursery. Thanks for that. So I felt a sore throat coming on and a little bit of a snotty nose. Totally normal. You know, I've usually got the immune system of a Viking. I normally get something like that, and within 2 to 3 days, I've shook it off with no real effect. And I thought the same would be with this. You know, I felt sore throat coming on. I thought a few days be sorted. A few days has ended up being 4 weeks and a day. You know, I feel like I'm at the back end of it now. It's nearly going. But from a sore throat and a snotty nose, with my nose being blocked, it led to obviously all your sinuses are linked. I ended up with an ear infection in this ear. And I think then by having a blocked nose and blowing my nose all the time, I ended up giving myself a bad ear in this ear. And for the last 2.5 weeks, I've had muffled ears, barely been able to hear out. And I think it's just the amount of blowing my nose. I've also ended up with a chest infection. I'm still currently on these. So what am I on? Amoxicillin, you know, prescription. I had to go and see my doctor and get some antibiotics. They finish on Friday, which will take me to 2 weeks out front fight. I've also had, I ain't got it with me because I don't need it as much, but an ear spray, an antibiotic ear spray for the ear infection. But it's the longest virus I've ever had. It's affected my training to the point where when I first got the virus, some lads were fighting in gym. So for obvious reasons I didn't come in, so I didn't spread it to them and spread it to everyone else in gym. So I had to have a week training at home, which I've got to set up at my garage. You know, I've got a bag, treadmill, assault bike, and I can go running. So I did all that, but that's ended up leading to missing out on sparring. And in total, I've started sparring this week, but I've missed 4 weeks of sparring, which it's been tough mentally to think, am I going to be right? I don't know if I'm going to be right or not. We're missing spar. I don't know what my engine's like, because you can run hard, you can train hard and do the rest of it hard and get your heart rate up. But anybody who's in boxing knows there's no fitness like sparring fitness. That is the perfect test to tell you where you are with your fitness, your timing and everything. You know, it's the closest thing to fighting is sparring, and missing 4 weeks has just done me head in, you know. And I've missed an extra week. I don't know if you can see, there's a little scab on my nose here. With my nose being blocked, I thought I would try and help by getting some nose strips. Slept with a nose strip on, you know, really give it some to make sure it stayed stuck throughout the night. Woke up the next morning, peeled it off, and it peeled all skin off my nose. And I was like, Jesus, everything that can go wrong just keeps going wrong. So I had to miss a week's sparring to let the scab heal across the nose so that didn't become a problem. So yeah, that's, I just thought I'd give an update on to how horrendous this training camp's been. been so close, this close to pulling out, thinking, but I've kept strong. And I think the main reason why I've not pulled out is because after my last fight, which was on the 27th of September or 28th of September, against Staphylos Antonis, I wasn't happy with that performance. So I fought him on a Friday. Monday, I was back in gym, but I didn't just come in gym and potter about and practice a few things and light training. I trained as though I'd got a fight, because it were still early enough in year. I thought, I'm going to keep training like I've got a fight, because I'm hoping that the phone's going to ring for another fight. And fortunately enough, it has. You know, I'll be fighting in just over 2 weeks against Gary Cully for the WBA Continental, I think it is, which is a good world ranking. A fight, you know, I'm more than capable and very confident of winning, you know, even going through this. So yeah, that's my biggest fear, you know, is getting so ill that I have to pull out of a fight. We're not there yet. I think I am on the mend. My ears, this ear is now, feels like back to normal. I've not got as much snot and crap on my chest and in my nose. I'm able to resume sparring. I'm having to make up for lost time. Normally, at this point, we would be sparring maybe once, twice a week and starting to taper down. When we're where we are, we've got to taper up. I'm just outside gym now, ready to spar. Sparred Monday, sparring today, Wednesday. Sparring again Friday, and then again 3 spars next week, stepping the rounds up to the championship rounds, either 10 or 12. And we're going right to the wire, you know, just because of the circumstances we're dealt. You know, you don't always get perfect training camps. Everybody usually has to go through a little bit of summer, a niggle or this or that. But for me, this is one at worst. But, you know, fortunately enough, I was well in front with my training from being professional and training really hard all the time, all year round. Kept close to my weight, so my weight's not an issue. I think if my weight was an issue, I'd have probably had to pull out the fight. But since I don't struggle at the weight and I've remained professional, it's allowed me to keep going and stay mentally strong and keep pushing and not being deflated by how I feel. You know, it's tough, but if you're watching this, you know, we will have had the result from fight, which will be a Maxi Hughes win, pushing on for big fights in 2025. So thanks for watching and thanks for supporting. Don't forget to like and subscribe.